Good morning. Welcome to Stone Creek. The opening verse is in the chat.
Profound and wondrous Dharma is rarely encountered, even in 100 million kalpas. Having yet to hear, accept, and maintain, may I taste the truth of the Tathagata's words.
Good morning. Today's talk is about grasping and clinging. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva addressed the great assembly of all beings with deep compassion. Old age, sickness, and death are relentless, and you are right to tremble as you behold them, for all things are void of self-nature, and your family and friends will not save you. Surviving this year's fire season will not save you. A clear Senate majority will not save you. Of course, we tremble in the face of impermanence. We are afraid to lose everything we love and hold dear, including ourselves. Of course, we reach for whatever seems in the moment solid enough to hold on to for support. How could we help but tremble, seeing that the sense of self we have nurtured and protected our whole life is revealed as insubstantial as a lightning flash or a passing cloud, changing either slowly or suddenly, but always vulnerable to circumstances around us that we can't control. In our bodies and minds, we carry the trauma of witnessing the destruction of planetary life systems, the destruction of the forests, the poisoning of the soils with pesticides, the decline of insects, birds, and wild animals. Despite appearances and habitual delusions to the contrary, in our bones, we know that we are not separate from them. We know that even under the kindest imaginable circumstances, death is our destiny. In our bodies and minds, we carry the collective and generational trauma of our estrangement from nature and from each other by perceived differences, especially of species, but also within our own species of race, gender, class, ability, age, and sexual identity. In our bones, we know that this earth is our body, and that whatever is happening to the earth is happening to us. The water of this very earth is our blood. Whatever happens to the water happens to us. In our dismay, we grasp and cling to whatever may seem like a good idea at the time. Change is relentless, and planting 1,000,000 trees will not save you. Masks and vaccines will not save you. Getting everything on your to-do list done will not save you. Wendell Berry says, "When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief." So what is that piece of wild things that he writes about? It may be that we humans' main distinction from the other life forms is not self-consciousness, not tool use, not language, but imagination. Wendell Berry's wood drake may not tax its life with the forethought of grief in the way that we do, because it does not imagine what might happen. The point is, that same imagination that allows us to foresee calamity can allow us to see different ways to change how we relate to nature and to each other. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and create a commonwealth of equity, love, and justice. In a way, imagination is our superpower. It helps us see how everything is connected. It can help us anticipate the consequences of our actions. It can help us practice right action or skillful action, which can lead to good, beneficial results. The brown rot fungus, for instance, typically begins eating the flesh of an apple and continues to eat until the apple is finally totally brown. It then dies and becomes food for a gray mold or some other microbe. If the brown rot had a little imagination, it might say, "What a delicious sweet apple. What a delightful orchard. Instead of eating and multiplying in my usual way until it's all gone and then dying off, I will slow down. I will eat this apple carefully. I will multiply carefully. And perhaps in that way, I can enjoy this apple all the way until our metabolism is stopped by the winter chill." So we try to imagine a way out of our predicament and grasp and cling to one good idea after another. We don't know what to do, and yet we must act or not. For here and now is exactly where we are, and in being here, there are consequences. Action or no action, consequences are inescapable. So what do I do or reform from doing? Change is relentless, and carbon capture technology will not save you. Bulletproof coffee will not save you. Binge watching your favorite TV series with your sweetie will not save you. The author and activist Paul Hawken has collected a great many good ideas in an excellent book called Project Drawdown. Each of his good ideas is evaluated by experts in the various fields of energy, construction, food, farming, for feasibility, cost, and impact. In addition to reforestation and backing off of fossil fuels, one of the most effective ways to reduce causes of climate change is to educate girls. That changes everything. Others are regenerative smallholder farming and reducing food waste. Many of these, and maybe most of them, are right and good to do, regardless of their effect on the amount of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Change is relentless, and electric cars and solar panels will not save you. Your workout routine and your general active life and good health will not save you. Your organic plant-based diet will not save you. Just imagine accepting life exactly as it is, warts and all. We can learn to do this. This is a skill that we can practice and learn. Radical acceptance is a distress tolerance skill, and it's right in line with our Zen practice that helps keep pain from turning into suffering. We are always going to encounter pain as part of life. But radical acceptance allows us to keep that pain from becoming suffering. In other words, it is what it is, and denial is futile. There's no way to go back and make it be otherwise, not even in our imagination. Zazen is such a great ally in this circumstance. When I was first learning to sit, Suzuki Roshi would come up behind me and gently adjust my posture. And then trying to hold that new posture often led to painful knees and back. And when I would just sit with it, I was surprised to find that the pain changed and sometimes almost entirely disappeared for a while until it returned. I found that while the pain was a fluid, changing sensation, the real problem was that I panicked in the face of it and squirmed for relief, which just seemed to magnify the pain. When I could breathe into that panicky feeling, relax, and sit relatively still, and open my grasping hands, the pain sensation was much more tolerable. With the practice of Zazen, you may notice that accepting things as it is, or just this, is not so easy. You may swallow hard and say, okay, yes, to this thought of something that's hard for you to accept, or that one. I live in fear of the time when my eyesight will be so poor that the DMV will not renew my license. But, I can say yes and accept that, but then another arises. But the thing is, the horizon is receding before you. But just call it practice. You'll get better at it. By definition, change is accompanied by loss. There's no stepping into the same stream twice. When change is gradual, we can often adapt gradually without losing the feeling of okayness. I see this in the gradual deterioration of my aging faculties. I say what more and more, but I'm still with you, still trying to hear everything you say. Sudden change means sudden loss. And in the grief and shock, we may panic, we may flail and grab, wanting desperately to deny the reality of what happened. When we can breathe into it and acknowledge the pain or impermanence as our immediate reality, as it is what it is, then we may begin finding our way back home. We may find within our grief a dynamic quality where we can consider new possibilities. Not easy. Our grasping is like automatically grabbing at a lifeline when afraid of drowning, compelling, immediate, instinctive. To meet it, we have to engage our reflective reasoning mind. And just who is this you that grabs for support in the face of uncertainty and change? That pivotal question again, just who are you? And again, Zazen is such a great ally in the process of self-reflection as we try yet again to answer it. Have you hardened your familiar opinions and preferences into bricks and constructed an identity out of them, like a fortress like a prison? Or is it just a story you have entertained yourself with over and over that you have nurtured and embellished over time? The story could be called Barton's Adventures with Grasping and Clinging. Some grasping is not from fear, but from greed. As we approach Thanksgiving, I find myself thinking of mashed potatoes with mushroom gravy and pecan pie. When the time comes, may I be able to graciously offer someone else the last piece. Change is relentless, and your cryptocurrency account will not save you. Tradition will not save you. Innovation will not save you. Who might we be without our preferences and opinions? Can we really bushwhack through life without paved roads, road signs, doctrines, scripts? Is there any other way? Our life is unique. Our path is unique. So it seems like bushwhacking is in order. A hair's breadth deviation from just this, and you are out of tune. The thing about preferences is that they are judgments, wanting something to be other than just this. Judgment is the deviation that takes us out of that sacred space of awake engagement with the totality of the present moment. Sing San, who lived in the 6th century, was the 3rd Chinese patriarch of Zen. He wrote in the Xin Xin Ming, "The way is perfect like vast space, where nothing is lacking and nothing in excess. Indeed, it is due to our choosing to accept or reject that we do not see the true nature of things. Make the smallest distinction, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. A hair's breadth deviation, and you are out of tune." Well, okay, Sang San, I get that. But all my training and education have been to hone my ability to make distinctions, to be discriminating and discerning. So what do I do with this mind? I can only say, yes, that too is exactly what it is. Change is relentless, and your education, generational wealth, and racial privilege will not save you. You're still functioning in your 70s and 80s abstract rational intellect will not save you. We were born into a garden. The way of nature seems to be collaboration for mutual benefit. This earth garden we were born into is the result of 4.5 billion years of that collaboration. Just now are we beginning to get a sense, again, that a forest is so much more than a group of trees. Last Sunday, Jisho compared our Sangha to a forest. Standing together, we are stronger. We nourish each other. We inform and protect each other. There is a shared history, a shared intelligence. I imagine an invisible underground network that connects us with each other and with the wide stream of Zen ancestors that preceded us, as mycelial networks connect trees in a forest. Well, consider this. Fungi form themselves into interconnected underground communities also. Grasses do it. Social insects do it. Herd animals do it. Bacteria do it. Prairie dogs do it. Indeed, is there anyone that is ever verifiably solitary? Maybe not. We actualize each other, and we are dependent thereby on each other. A honeybee is part of a colony, but despite having an individual history and unique qualities, it's the colony rather than the individual bee that has the coherence and resilience. You could think of all these other beings as nations that form alliances and trading partnerships and become mutually interdependent. The way of nature is collaboration for mutual benefit. Is that scary to you, or is it comforting? Individual animals want to live, of course. So do plants. But plants, rooted as they are, unable to run away, have a strategy of offering parts of themselves, of making themselves beautiful or delicious to birds, bees, and other animals in order to reproduce, to migrate, and to fit better into their circumstances. They benefit from being eaten. The birds, bees, and other animals benefit from eating them. This mutual interaction results in diversity, complexity, resilience, generosity, and incredible beauty. Amazing. The jaw drops. The mind boggles. This interdependent, interconnected, collaborative process was going on for over 4 billion years before our first ancestral primates appeared. We were truly born into the garden. Don't take it as a kumbaya moment, however. Predator-prey relationships work this way too, as the smell of death from Bambi's little torn carcass under the plum tree reminds us every time we walk by. We are just now beginning to realize the liveliness of the other forms of life, the stones, walls, fences, pebbles, grasses that we have thought of as inert. There's a permaculture saying that every being is a gardener, tending their surroundings to suit themselves and make a good life. So let's tend this garden carefully. Let's tend it for justice and compassion as well as beauty. Let's tend it for reparation, to repair the decades of hurt and destruction the best that we can. Let's tend it for love and inclusion as well as abundance. Last Sunday, Dojin said that generosity comes from gratitude. Imagination helps us to realize the vast beauty and generosity in the universe and to feel gratitude for this awareness. Let us offer deep thanks for the totally unearned and inexplicable benefaction of our existence. Unearned, inexplicable. It is what it is. Allow yourself to feel the fullness of that gratitude. When you inhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body. When you exhale, breathe out gratitude and generosity to all beings. Change is relentless, and Zen practice will not save you. Mars colonies will not save you. Jesus will definitely not save you. Though we have no salvation to offer, There is refuge within this great Buddha way. The refuge we offer is in the three treasures of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha is where you are sitting right now. This place is the intersection of past and future. This exact moment is where all dualities meet. Here is the many. Here is the one. Here is the thusness of just right, nothing extra, nothing missing. I take refuge in Buddha. Dharma is this way that we and all things connect and interact in this wild ecosystem of mutual actualization, collaborating from the micro to the macro, producing heart-stopping beauty and abundance. I take refuge in Dharma. Sangha is the grand assembly of all beings, grasses, forests, microbes, birds and fishes, elements, down to the smallest atom particles, including us and engaging us in the most profound and intimate community. I take refuge in Sangha. Many of the assembled beings on that day, hearing those words and taking them to heart, immediately attained unsurpassed, complete, perfect life as it is, trembling and all, and realized that that was exactly what we wanted. So how are you with that?
Good morning, Barton. I just wanted to thank you for that one phrase, will not save you. Delicious and delightful. I appreciate it very much. I was starting to repeat it along with you as we came along.
Yeah, it was from a poem that I wrote a decade ago or so about grasping and clinging.
There. Oops.
Well, friends, it was really
Barton.
lovely to see you all in person last Sunday, and I'm really lucky and grateful to be in this existential soup with all of you. Thank you. Pamela.
Myozen,
Hi.
Pamela's been wanting, there you go.
There, thank you. I wasn't sure if I was trying to unmute and turn on my video. So you can hear me and see me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I appreciate not only your words, but you bringing forth those concepts, because they are always with me, but they never somehow get into my consciousness or my practice. And so bringing them forth just reminded me that I can pay attention to those things, or, attempt to pay attention to those things and live by them more on a daily basis, as far as the, impermanence and the temporary. But what we have is the here and now. Yeah. And I, totally get that, especially with the unexpected death of my husband. Oh. And then I was also struck by the overall theme. And I was reminded of Popeye, the Sailor Man song that said, I am what I am, and that's all that I am, Popeye the Sailor Man. And that, I don't know, even when the Popeye cartoons came out, maybe in the 50s. But I think somebody was just saying that, or were they? You know, I mean, that was just a catchphrase, or was there a philosopher on the writing team for Popeye?
Right. Well, it's certainly become a champion phrase of our current interest and insistence on diversity and inclusion.
And I think for public figures, Bill Clinton was the first one that I remember, or that I ever noticed, saying, "It is what it is," which is kind of part of the same concept that you were talking about. To me, how I experienced that phrase when I first heard it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that talk.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. Yes, thusness is another way to say it.
Right.
Well,
Myozen, thank you. I greatly appreciate your ability to hold things wide and hold the particular, and to, well, share it in both a lovely and an intimate way. I was thinking with, I don't know if you noticed, and you probably are aware, they're talking of the Monarch Butterflies, who last year there was the concern down in Southern California area, where there was hardly any appearing at all. And they thought, they're gone, it's really done. And this year, there's a number of thousand that have returned. And the words that go with it is, they don't know why. You know, I mean, we can pretty well guess why they don't, but you know, but we still don't know why. And then there's the not knowing what are the conditions of this past year that have been so threatening and crazy for so many, that actually have maybe been beneficial to these particular monarchs. So holding that breath of things as they are, without judging that it's final days or it's beginning days, that's a tightrope. And you always present it in such a way that it's life. Thank you.
yes, okay. That's exactly where we are. We don't know. There's hope is something that we are not gonna ever avoid, any more than we were gonna avoid judgments and grasping in opinions. It's kind of built into the animals, that our animal selves, that we are. That I read that about the monarch butterflies too, and just felt great happiness and relief. The more insects, the more birds, for one thing, the more everything. So thank you, mysterious cause that resulted in more monarch butterflies.
Hi, Barton. It's Holly. I was
Hi,
gonna
Holly.
say, I really appreciated your talk, and I really was interested and struck by, I mean, we talk a lot about in sort of generalizations, and so you're sort of gliding along thinking about it, and then
suddenly referred to Bambi's mangled body. And it was like, oh yeah, that really made me kind of focus in on exactly what you were saying, that, you change is just inevitable. And just, that was well done. Anyway.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Barton. I always enjoy your talks. What struck me was which is something I think you always bring up, is our sense of a greater Sangha. Pretty much everything we encounter or touch or interact or have an awareness of is our Sangha. And, in these times, it's so easy to focus on our particular group, whether it's our household or our Stone Creek Sangha or whatever, but truly the Sangha is everything. And that is a good reminder to have as we, are in this sort of isolation mode. But it's always available to take a walk and open your eyes and realize that it's all here. Thank you.
Yes. And in our delusion, we imagine ourselves lonely sometime. Yeah. Well, maybe that's enough words for now.
Thank you very much, Myozen.
Thank you, Myozen.
Barton. And I'm putting the 4 vows in the chat. Things are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are infinite. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is boundless. I vow to realize it.